We all have our pet peeves in Planetside too. Being a sandbox game and all, we are always going to come across things that just get under our skin. For some, it's air-to-ground spam. For others, it's shotguns. For me, mech suits go pretty high on the list. But for this poor bastard, it's pretty clear that he'd just been bolted that one too many times. And yep, this is what the snap of that patience that we all sometimes have looks like. G'day there once again, viewers, this is your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today we are once again returning to the Time to Gear Up series. Alright, so for some of you, this is going to be your first rodeo into the spiral towards my personal hell. So let me give you a quick rundown. This here is the series we run on the channel where you guys get to run your best Dr. Evil impressions and suggest a loadout for me to use in-game. Whether it be something as silly as, rolling in some grass with a slightly malicious hay fever allergy, or something so effective and generally so devastating to the ego of your opponents that it would belong in the hands of Shroud himself. The loadout suggested in the comment section down below with the most votes come the time I decide to return to this shit show will be selected for the next episode. So remember to have your say down below, whether it be on a vote on another comment or with a comment of your own. The more creative, the better, gang. Now, the last episode was a hot mess, a convoluted list of loadout pieces that simply made no sense whatsoever. On the flip side here, we have a clear intention with this loadout. It's just a little bit personal. As I alluded to at the intro of this video, this is a loadout that clearly has some past trauma backing them in here. This is a foot soldier that is fueled by nothing other than the screams of his dying comrades, by the PTSD-inducing sounds of the cloaking sound effects in this game, and the raw passion to never hear that sound again. So what we have here in essence essentially is a bat signal with malicious intent in the form of a new conglomerate heavy assault. Today, we have a loadout literally called I Hate Cloakers in all caps, suggested by Nikos Costa, which I can only assume was typed with so much anger behind it that the caps lock activated automatically, with the PC just sort of sitting there like, damn, alright chief, I feel you, I'll handle this part. Yeah, look, the loadout plans to heavily assault a certain element of the player base, so let's get into the how this is going to happen. Kicking things up, we have the NSX Naginata as our personal weapon of choice, and mate, it has to be said that this is one weapon I always have a good time returning to. It always takes a minute for me to adjust my muscle memory because if you move with this thing, then you're basically trying to wrangle a kicking and screaming child while scoring kills. You really need to be a bit more passive and patient when moving with the Naginata, so placing this thing up in a choke point and just sort of, holding down the trigger is going to result in a lot of dead dudes. But even better, if you see one of those cheeky snipers off in the distance, simply plant yourself, start blasting, and the capped cone of fire bloom on your gun will send a hailstorm of lead downrange. Bye bye, Mr. Cloaker. Please see yourself out. But the real reason we take this LMG, despite the accuracy, is that it's capable of 3-shotting an infiltrator with headshots in close quarters, and considering how often they one-tap us, we might as well get as close as we can to returning the favor as possible. Now, I'm pleased to announce that we are also broadcasting this video in color picture as opposed to our last episode, running a standard 1x CCR last sight, a compensator, and soft point ammunition, and of course, the dark light flashlight. I'm sure the anti-cloaker theme is starting to finally, become obvious here, hey. If it wasn't clear, we're also rocking the NS44 Commissioner, which is capable of one-tapping an infiltrator not running nano armor cloaking in the head at close range. Throw in the additional dark light flashlight, and yeah, look, we aren't going to get lost in the dark anytime soon, let's put it that way. Now, in our tool slot, we are running the good old Decimator, which normally you would preserve for things like mech suits and vehicles, right? Now, I'll admit, that's how my Decimator got most of its use time in this video, but it was on this loadout under the proviso of also hunting infiltrators, with Nikos stating here, and I'm quoting verbatim by the way, to inflict maximum damage so that they can feel it way beyond their second and third afterlife. Have to admit, that's a quote I want engraved on my Decimator in-game. Can we make that happen, please? We're also running the nanowave armor and adrenaline shield just to shrug off their pathetic attempts to score some damage on us here. And look, the rest of the gear here just seems to turn this into a weaponized anti-cloaker rights movement, if I'm being completely honest. Running concussion grenades with the intent of just giving infils a taste of their own blinding AoE medicine, and also C4 to be able to bomb some tricky bastard who was being all cocky, sitting in a corner, thinking he was being sneaky and all. In addition, we're running the Carver because, well, they've also got to get a taste of their own medicine when it comes to knifing shenanigans, right? We've also got Athlete as our in-plane of choice to ensure that none of them can escape our wrath even with nanoweaver armor on board. And we've also got ocular shield to, as I quote again, not give a toss whenever you get EMP'd by the rascals. Though I have to admit, I only really use this implant to rush in faster after my concussion grenades go to town. But that right there is really today's loadout from top to bottom. And to any cloaker mains in the community that are watching this right now, please don't take this personally. This is literally what the community voted in as the final result, okay? I'm just the messenger at this point. But let's just say you've been dinked one too many times, or you yourself have had that one last EMP hit you and you just want to give this absolute unit a run for its money. It's going to cost you a pretty penny to do so, running anywhere between 4,550 certs to unlock, all the way up to 7,580 certs to unlock, not including implant RNG upgrade fees. As I said before, a pretty penny. So yeah, if you're truly passionate about killing cloakers, just be ready to fork out some serious dough for it. So big thank you has to go out to Nikos Costa for the suggestion today. I could feel your rage channeling through my veins as I used this build, and hell, I even began to enjoy the sheer panic that enemy cloakers went through once my flashlight turned their way, almost like a blinding light revealing the heretics themselves. Now Nikos did have this to say about the loadout as well to back the loadout in. Try to actively hunt down infiltrators when in big fights and prioritize them if you see multiple enemies in the area. Bonus points if you can get them with the carver and teabag them just for good measure. Teabagging part may not be necessary and it's all up to you if you want to do it. If you get bolted by an infill at long range, use an orbital strike to kill that one specific infill who killed you. I'd recommend doing this at least once on camera. Now, as much as I wanted to act up for the camera, I sadly didn't have many opportunities for doing the good old dip potato chip on my prey because the chaos of the fights that I was in never really let me do so. Plus, I don't really intend on ending up on Reddit looking like a toxic content creator, so I decided to be a bit of a good boy here. Also, I had every intent to orbital at least one poor bastard who just so happened to score that epic snipe on me on the day that I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. But between not having outfit resources and being in a generally good mood while recording this, the opportunity also didn't reveal itself. Sorry Nikos, but no salty orbital strikes from me today. But in general, I had an absolute love-hate relationship with this loadout. And at the risk of sounding like the beginning of a Medkits Anonymous meeting, I have to admit it guys, I fucking missed my medkits here. Now, throwing a concussion grenade into a room of unsuspecting TR or VS max suits only to throw some C4 their way and watch them begin screaming in max suit tactical was nothing short of a joy. Like seriously, happy cami noises were heard by the next door neighbor on more than one occasion. Also, I know the intent of the C4 was to hit unsuspecting infills with it, but I can't deny it, I never really had the pleasure. If any infills were caught out by my C4, it was incidental at best. But back on topic. The lacking amount of medkits hurt, man. There were a few occasions on stream where I was getting footage for this loadout where I whipped out my C4 detonator only to start mashing the button hoping it would miraculously just Control-Z the damage I took. And not having medkits actually cemented my rage for snipers even more because if I did get hit by a stray sniper round from time to time or a long-range sniper, I couldn't heal the damage I took, so my hatred grew even more for them as I took that shot. But anyway, on the other side of the coin, having a dark light flashlight on at all times was the most chaotic neutral approach I've ever gone down with this game, for a couple of reasons. For one, I can't understand the pure hilarity that comes from infiltrators going into a raw panic as I turned and hit them with my Naginata attached with a bat signal. It almost felt like a bit of a Uno reverse card move, but in Planetside too, which was hilarious. But in addition to that, this might be a bit of a placebo effect here, but by having the flashlight on my weapon, I swear some people just disregarded me from being a threat. Like, we all know the meta is running a laser sight on the most competitive LMGs in the game. I mean, there is never really a situation where you should be running a flashlight on a primary weapon. So many people may have just seen the flashlight and have always figured, he's a noob, I'll deal with you later, only to get blasted by me. Again, I could be facing some strange-ass placebo effects here at times, but it's kind of how I felt, and it felt amazing as a result. Overall, I had a lot of fun with the loadout. I felt like a Terminator who was slightly classist, if you will, aiming to, eliminate all human life in front of me, NC2 here, let's be honest, only switching to overdrive mode when the smallest hint of a cloaker showed up? Was it the noise? Was it the look? Was it the shimmer of his cloak? Doesn't matter. Any inkling and I'm going full blast mode. It was generally a funny loadout to use with a pretty good intent and backstory behind it. So once again, big thank you to Nikos for suggesting it, and thank you to all you guys for voting it in. And with that said, guys, that is going to wrap up today's episode of the Time to Gear Up series. Once again, a huge shout out goes out to Nikos for suggesting this loadout. I had a lot of fun with it, and look, it really was satisfying watching infiltrators just go into complete and total panic mode for a couple of hours worth of playtime here. So yeah, definitely worth it. Be sure to leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. It also goes a long way in ensuring you stay up to date with whenever we release content. Also hit the notification bell as well, guys. Be sure to leave a comment down below as to what loadout you want to see me run next. Always keen to see what you guys and your creative bunch come up with. And as per always, you can find my social media links, including Discord, Twitter, and my TikTok, all linked down below as well, guys. So looking forward to seeing you guys on those social medias as well. Once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.